Hello. Hello. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Instagram. Hello. Oh, my goodness. All right. So I wanted to grab just one more piece of information before we got started because everything has been a little wackadoo here, which, hi Jim, which if you have been following along or you were watching last week, then you probably know. So after I left you all last week on Monday afternoon with our wonderful time together, my husband and I ended up back in the emergency room Tuesday night for the third Tuesday in a row, prompting me to ask my husband the question, why do you hate Tuesdays? So all is well, and we're finally on the mend. We met with a different cardiologist, and we have now what we feel are like the right drugs, the right doctors, the right plan of attack, and everything is good. So I am praying with all my heart that, so I was praying with all my heart that tomorrow, being the fourth Tuesday, everything would be great, right? Copacetic, and everything would be, sorry, my fan is blowing my hair these wacky ways, so that everything would be great, right? Because now we have everything, except I live in Central Florida, and so tomorrow on Tuesday we're going to have a hurricane. So I mean, you can't make this stuff up except for the fact that it's Mercury retrograde. And with all of the drama that's been going on for us this month, and I know we had some missed days for obvious reasons, being in the hospital and all that, it's important to remember that even while all this is going on, we are having Mercury retrograde. And we are also coming into the full moon. It's going to be, just here in another day or so. And this is an important full moon. This is the full moon in Pisces. It's a blue moon. It's the second moon in the month. So it's a good opportunity to do a little moon bathing, whether you live in the city or in the country. If you can get to some place where you have more of an unobstructed view, especially if there's a place where you can maybe put your feet in the grass or your feet in the, on the earth. Just walk in the grass in a park, things like that, and be able to bathe in the moonlight. So when we talk about moon bathing, we're not talking about, going naked under the trees. We're talking about bathing in the moonlight as in we're basking in the glow. I mean, if you want to go commando or whatever, I do not judge. So that is totally up to you, and all is well. But, hi Ellen. But it is, I think, a really important cleansing moon, because here we have the super moon. First of all, it's a super moon. Second of all, it's a blue moon, which means it's the second full moon in a calendar month. And then this is also the moon in Pisces, which is all about Pisces we know is a water sign, and so we have this ability with water signs to wash things away. Water signs are very clear and cleansing and all of that, plus the fact that we have Mercury retrograde, where we're just in the tail end of it, and the retrograde is going to end around the same time. So, but I don't love to give those specific dates about Mercury retrograde. It's going to start here, it's going to end here. I don't like to do that anymore, because here's what happened. You all say to me, but this is after, this happened outside of the retrograde, or but this happened before retrograde. Yeah, I get that. I totally hear you, because the fact of the matter is that retrogrades have that shadow time. So we have the Mercury retrograde, the date that the planet goes retrograde, the date the planet goes direct, but at the same time we have this 2 week before and after, roughly 2 week window where they call this the shadow time, where we're not quite in or out of the retrograde yet, but we're still feeling the effects already or still. So we try not to get too hung up, as I've talked to you about 8 billion times through the years, that energy is not a light switch that we can turn on and off. So we want to make sure that we understand energy is kind of flowing in, it's flowing out. It doesn't have that effect like, oh, retrograde, oh, no more retrograde. It doesn't quite work that way. So, apologies. Okay. Oh, you okay? My little pup is having a cough. Okay. So, I do want to share a couple other things about what's going on right now. So when we're into Pisces, we're talking about increased connection, right? We're talking about increased connection to each other. We're talking about increased connection with to ourself. We're talking about increased connection to our soul, family, to our soul. Wasn't that so interesting? We're talking about increased connection to higher powers and things like that. So this is a great time to really take some stock about who you are and where you are. And we've been talking about this all year long, right? About how do we want to show up in the world, right? 23 was the year about me, meaning you, and how do you want to show up in the world. So this time of Pisces is this great opportunity to take stock of like, well, what relationships are around me? What's important to me? What relationships do I want to cultivate? What relationships do I, can I let go? I will tell you that with all of this stuff that's been going on with my husband in this month, there were some very clear lines in the sand for me, that there were people who were calling and texting me being like, what's going on? What's going on? That was clearly for their own information and not for the support of my family. There were people that didn't have any idea what was going on and found out after the fact, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. That was not their fault. They didn't, I didn't skywrite it. If you knew, you knew. If you didn't know, you didn't know. And that's okay. And so we have the ability, especially in times of crisis, we have this moment where we look at bandwidth, right? And if you've been watching the last couple of weeks, I've been talking a bunch about bandwidth, right? Because when you are in a crisis, you only have so much bandwidth. And really on any given day, we only have so much bandwidth. And it becomes up to us. It becomes imperative for us to say, I will spend the bandwidth that I have on this, but not on this. And that is okay, because it is up to us to protect. And we talk a lot about boundaries here. We've talked about boundaries before. So it is totally fine for us to be able to say, here is the bandwidth that we have available, and how do you choose to spend it? A lot of people talk about the minutes in the day and how do you choose to spend that. And I understand that also, but for me, a day is a very finite measure of time, whereas bandwidth is part of who you are and what you are capable of, or what you are available for in a period of time, which could be more or less than a day. And so I find that to say, I only have so many hours in a day, it's, sorry, I'm watching my little dog have a cough, just making sure he's okay. I find that, operating from the place of we only have so many hours in a day can be limiting, or, on the one hand, it's limiting, like you only have this day, but some things we give our bandwidth to maybe very short. It could be 10 minutes. When my husband is back at work today. He's not working, but he's back at work, kind of doing a walkthrough with his crew, the guys that he works with, and just feeling how he feels, and just seeing if he feels like he's ready to go back to work. So he has that much bandwidth, right? And so for him to be able to say, this is the bandwidth I have, is I'm going to be present. So when he calls and talks to me, everything stops. I want to give all of my bandwidth to him. It may only be 5 minutes, could be 2 minutes, could be 10. So I want to give him all my bandwidth that I can when, at any time, because he's my partner. But when we are choosing that bandwidth, it does like this. Whereas when I feel like people talk about there's only so many hours in a day, I feel like it's much more like blocks of time versus the flow of things. And this is just how it relates to me, and how you choose to hear about it or to walk through that is completely up to you. If the hours in the day thing makes sense to you, great. But for me, I haven't had a 9-to-5 job in 30 25, 26, 26, almost 27 years. So I work on my own schedule, and a lot of times I find that my most productive time is like 12 to 1 or 2 in the morning. And that's just me. So for me, it's about bandwidth. And so however it is for you, one of the things about this Pisces full moon is looking at, we've spent a lot of time over this year, over this 8 months, looking at ourselves and looking at our relationships to other people and setting those boundaries and creating this safe space for ourselves to grow ourselves and to be able to, be protective. We spend a lot of time talking about being protective and dealing with energy suckers and things like that. But this is the time for us to look at the situation and say, how do I want to now go forward? And we talk a lot about how do I want to show up in the world, and we talk a lot about discretion. But this is almost more fine-tuning than discretion. Like, I want to be with that person, I don't want to be with that person. And it's a bit more of that discretion of like, well, who do I want to talk to? When somebody calls me and says, how are you doing? How's your husband doing? And I say, oh, he's doing great. But another person may call me and who has a different place in my personal inner circles or in that hierarchy of how we, who's closer to you and not closer. And they may say, hey, how's your husband? And we're going to have a very different conversation. So it's about the bandwidth. So recently somebody asked me to participate in something else. And I'm just thinking to myself, God, I would love to. There are so many things I would love to do. I don't have the bandwidth. And it's so important. And then literally the person said to me, well, it just sounds like a lot, but it's really like, one thing a month, and it's not even one a month. And I'm thinking, it's not the time. And so this is where I come back to hours in the day, because in her mind, it was hours in the day. And it wasn't hours in the day for me. For me, it was bandwidth, because this was an integrative program that was going to require being present. It was going to require being part of the conversation, being part of perhaps planning, being part of reevaluating. It was not just show up, have lunch, and go home. So it wasn't just one a month or 1 hour a month or one event a month. There's a lot more that's involved in that particular program that I did not have the bandwidth to invest myself in something else. And so this, I think, is really, really important, because there's so many things that we would love to do. I'm really looking forward to getting back in the kayak once my husband is, we're good, and to be able to go back and volunteer with the manatees. I have the bandwidth for that because I don't have to learn something new. I've been doing it so long. It's something that I can go, how they say, plug and chug, right? You plug something in, it just works. Where is your bandwidth? How are you utilizing your bandwidth, and how are you assessing the bandwidth? How are you spending it? So for me, I go get back in the manatees and get back in the water, because being in the water and being around those beautiful old mature trees and the manatees themselves, that is filling me up. That fills my bucket. It fills my heart. It soothes my soul. And I may need to deal with some humans that are doing stupid stuff, and I may have to, educate people about the manatees, which I love to do, but it's not something that takes new power. New bandwidth has to come in to fortify in order to go out and do something. If you have something you love and you've been doing it for a long time, it doesn't take new energy to go do it. You can just do it because you've done it so many times. You can do it by rote, right? I just go in my kayak, I get out there, I know what I need to do. It's an enjoyable experience, and it's not about taking on more. Whereas when we lend ourselves to a new activity or a new class or a new community, which is what this particular offer was to be part of a new community, there's bandwidth that's there. There's part of us that needs to say, how much can I, not want to, but can I invest myself into this new opportunity? How much can I invest myself? What is it going to cost me in my investment of time, of energy, of that bandwidth? How much do I want to invest? There's so many amazing opportunities to help people and be involved in things. I'm I totally want to jump in and be part of that. But at the same time, how much do you have to give? So I also volunteer at this place. Some of you have heard me talk about the Dougie Center in Portland, Oregon, probably maybe half a dozen times. When we do a fundraiser, I often am raising money for the Dougie Center, which is the first of its kind in the country when it was founded, that does grief counseling and grief healing work for kids who have lost a sibling, kids who have lost a parent, that kind of thing. And there are now Dougie Center models all around the country, which is incredible. And there's some in other countries as well. So there is one here in Central Florida, and I do work with them. When I was first working with them, the idea was, because I am a grief educator, was to come and be part of their grief facilitator program. But two things happen. one, they didn't really need more facilitators. What they needed was just some volunteers to help tidy up when the kids made a mess. It was a neck down opportunity to go in and just be of service. It required very little bandwidth because once they showed me what needed to be done, I was like, great, I can do that. I clean up after my kids, they're even now in their 20s. So there was very little bandwidth, but it was something that was healing to me to be part of healing someone else. So it was something that took little bandwidth, and it was only like 2 hours a month, and I didn't have to plan anything because I didn't have to facilitate anything. I just needed to show up with a smile. And how much of a difference that made for those kids and those parents. And that filled up my cup, but took very little bandwidth. So I hope this is making sense, because the thing that I really want to leave you with today was that there are so many places where we may want to, or we may feel called or obligated to jump in and participate. And there's a very big difference between looking, at least in how it comes through to me, there's a very big difference between the time involved and hours of the day versus the bandwidth that may leave you feeling energized, may leave you feeling depleted. Do you have the bandwidth to engage, to participate? The only bandwidth I need to worry about when I go to volunteer at this center is to just be friendly and to talk to people who, just, hi, how's it going today? And if they want to talk to me more, my job is to listen. That's it. So I have the bandwidth for that because it's giving of my time from my heart without having to okay, I'm planning an activity, or I got to do this, or there's not, let's say, a leadership role in that. And there is something very therapeutic about showing up to be a helper. And so when I do with the manatees, I feel like unless I'm training somebody, that's part of my role too, is just to show up to be a helper, because I'm there to help the rangers, I'm there to help the park, I'm certainly there to help the manatees. So I really wanted to spend some time today talking about the difference between the hours in the day and the bandwidth, because I do feel like we get that confused sometimes. And when we look at how we want to spend our time, we're looking first thing to the hours of the day. And there are some times that we feel like we are obligated to do something. And so I really want to encourage you to consider the bandwidth more than the calendar. So I want to leave you with that. Okay, as we are coming into this super full blue moon in Pisces, I want to also talk about Pisces. So Pisces is so this is where all of this comes in, because Pisces is where we are really encouraged to go deep in ourselves and do a little more self-assessment and really look at who we are. And we've been talking about this all year, who we are, how we want to show up in the world, how we interact, all of those things. And so Pisces is about this part of really getting to know ourselves better and being more connected with ourselves better. Pisces also has a whole lot to do with, those psychic, if you are someone who has psychic leanings and someone who has those abilities, if you've been thinking that maybe you want to learn more and do more to help cultivate that, this is a good time to, to consider those things and to at least pay attention to those feelings, those urges. Now, I would also caution about doing anything, no radical shifts during Mercury retrograde, okay? This is like a good cardinal rule. No radical shifts during a Mercury retrograde, she says, after her husband had 3, emergency rooms and a heart attack. So I explained that to him while we were sitting in the emergency room. At one point I said, we don't have radical shifts during a Mercury retrograde. What are you doing? So I was teasing, of course, because I was just super grateful for all the things. But if you are thinking about, I would like to learn more about psychic work or mediumship or anything like that, and if you would like to know more about that with me, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, because I do teach those classes. And barring all the drama of the last month, I was supposed to be finishing up our beginning mediumship class, which is going to be an online. Okay, my power just went out. Mercury retrograde. Super fun. August has been a whopper, right? Okay, because sometimes all you can do is just laugh. Okay, so The other part about Mercury retrograde, about Pisces and the full moon, is to be gentle to yourself. This is a water sign. This is a time for you to be gentle to yourself. Water signs are all about emotions. They're about emotional relationships, romantic entanglements, romantic connections. This is a time that can be very emotional. It can be very emotional about yourself. It can be very emotional about your relationship with others. And so as you come into this full moon with the blue moon and the Pisces and the retrograde, just be gentle, right? Just be gentle. Remember, it's so easy when we get into these situations with the higher, energy of the moon and the retrograde that something goes wrong and we're just like, ah! And our tendency is to freak out. So this is your gentle reminder that just take a breath. This is not the time to panic. It's all going to be okay. All right. The last thing I want to say about this is a great opportunity. Oh no, Janie's so down in the dumps. Yes, it absolutely can. So Janie, not just the full moon, but it also has to do with this Mercury retrograde. Okay, so this is about relationships, and so let me ask you thank you for sharing. Okay, thank you for being brave enough to share and feeling safe to share. But let me ask you, if you've been feeling down in the dumps lately, because this Mercury retrograde has been going on for a while, it's most of August. Let me ask you, what is it that you have been giving your bandwidth to that maybe you would prefer not to? Where may you be acting out of obligation instead of heart choices or passion choices, or giving your bandwidth to things that maybe you wouldn't want to? And so this is when I get into places of depression anymore, that's one of the first things, the two things that I look at when I come into a place of depression anymore, because I have battled it for so long, that the two things that I look at, first of all, I look at the calendar and I see whose yahrzeit, which is the Jewish Hebrew word for the anniversary of passing, a death anniversary, whose passing anniversary is coming up, or maybe is coming around. And what's on the calendars, like the secular calendar as far as that goes. And the other thing I look at is, where am I spending my bandwidth or my energy in a way that isn't what I want? Where am I spending my energy in a way that I feel like that's being demanded of me rather than them giving it? And those two things I find have such an incredible impact on my feeling down in the dumps. There's a difference right now. There's a higher level of anxiety for me because, my husband is back at work and we're waiting to see, I just want to make sure he gets home. I want him to come home before this hurricane gets here. There's been some anxiety this month. There's been a lot of it. And it doesn't, energy doesn't turn on and off, right? So it's going to take a little bit of time for that anxiety, that trigger response, so like, what's going on, to calm down. So we give ourselves that grace at the same time when we can take that part out and say, okay, I know this is part of this trauma that we've both had of, all of this drama of it, August. What else is there? What else is there? And so the first question, of course, we ask is this mine? If you're feeling down in the dumps, Janie, is it yours? Is what is making you or causing you to feel down, is that your emotion, or are you picking up on the emotion or energy of someone around you? Hi, Glenda. That's question one. The second, like I said, is I go to the calendar and I look at what anniversaries of passing are coming or maybe around, and then I look at my bandwidth. Where am I spending my bandwidth that maybe is feeling obligatory and it isn't really what I want to do, or it isn't really, how I would choose to spend the time. And those things can have a huge, huge impact. The other thing is, if you can, when we feel down in the dumps, the last thing we want to do is get up and go for a walk or get out into the sunlight. If you can, and it's not 100 degrees where you are, to just take a gentle walk around the block, even if it's just around the block. And, there were days when all I could do was, now I am the second house in on my street. Okay, you come off the main road into my neighborhood, I am literally the second house, and there were days when all I could do was get to the corner and come back. Right? After my knee surgery, if you go out my front door, there's another street with a little cul-de-sac right there. After my knee surgery, it could take me 45 minutes to go around that little cul-de-sac. Now that was depressing, but my kitten is meowing. But it's the process. And when we can get ourselves out in the trees, in someplace where there may be trees or fresh air, and even just to get the body moving a little bit, because our inclination when we're feeling depression or down in the dumps is to lay down, to go within, to cover over our heads. Our inclination is that cocoon, right? If you can get outside, get some fresh air, maybe take some steps, right? Doesn't have to be a long walk, does not have to be a fast walk. Put on some music that makes you feel happy, or reach out to someone that you know you can count on. We have those people that we can count on. I call my girlfriend. I have a couple of girlfriends that I call. Well, come on, up. You gotta get out of the bed. And you know what? Only you know what you're capable of today, Jamie. So be gentle with yourself, okay? But calling a friend, if you have someone that you know you can count on. When my husband went back to the emergency room for the third flipping time, I called my one girlfriend and I said, I cannot believe this. I am and I'm completely flipping out in the emergency room lobby, and like trying not to be public about it, but in my, I'm like, I can't believe we're in the emergency room again, and just having this panic of like, what is going on? And my girlfriend, I knew I could call her regardless of the time. I knew that I could. If you're a spammer, we're going to ban you. So just don't even bother to start making the comments, because you're going to be banned. Like, it's just that fast, okay? I'm just telling you, don't say I didn't warn you. So when we have, there it is. I don't know. I apologize if I'm wrong. I do so apologize. I have been, trained, by the spammers. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. But having that person that you can call, that you can call and say, I am in emotional trouble. I just need a friendly voice. I just need to vent. I need someone to talk so I can listen and don't have to vent. Whatever it is, having those couple of people that you can count on, that we call them the balcony people, that you can call to say, hey, I just need somebody, just tell me what's going on. I don't want to be the one to talk. I just need somebody on the other end of the phone right now, right? And sometimes that can be a huge help, to just tell me what's going on in your life. Just tell me whatever. I don't care. I just need a friendly voice, because when we listen, when we're listening and we're giving that bandwidth to that person, we get involved in their conversation, we get involved in what's going on with their world, and we can let go of the things that we may be holding on in ours. And what happens, sometimes they are hard to find. 100%, I know, they are hard to find. So that's why when you find them, Belinda, we hold on to them, right? When you find a good friend, male or female, whatever, gender non-conforming, don't care. If it's a good friend, you hold on to them. And a good friend is someone who's going to listen as much as they talk. When you call up and say, I just need you to talk, and they're going to just tell you stuff. And you may find yourself connected into their story and getting energized and lifted by what may be going on with theirs. For everything that my husband and I have dealt with this month, the thing that we were saying to each other yesterday is, even for all the drama, even for all the sleepless nights and all the tears, I still would not trade what happened to us this month for anyone else's problems, because I know that there are so many people who have it so much worse, and who are dealing with things that are so much heavier and have a less positive outcome and less positive prognosis and all those things. So for as hard as it was for us, we still were in that place of gratitude. We still knew that we were better off than what other people are dealing with. And so sometimes when we can focus on stuff that's not our own, we can feel better about where we may be. So Ellen says, it's 80 degrees, beautiful sun. Spent most of the day on a riding mower. Where I live, I need to drive to walk cornfields and highway. Wow. Oh, there's Ifatunde the spammer. There you go. You're banned. Bye. See, I knew it, right? We knew it. So, bye, Ifatunde. So, wow. Okay. So there are places here that there's places anywhere that we can drive to walk. My favorite park is about 25, 30 minutes away downtown. And Ohio. Awesome. We have lots of friends and family in Ohio. So my favorite park with these most beautiful, beautiful trees is about 30 minutes away. And sometimes I just, just can't get there. And so I walk in the neighborhood, but certainly we don't want you to walk in the highways. But being on the riding mower, I mean, if you can, you're out in the trees and you're connecting with the grass and the earth. That's important. That's the part of the stuff that really heals us. So while I am very, very sad that Janie is feeling down in the dumps today, hopefully, I mean, if Atunde wanted to be your friend, so hopefully this is stuff that can help lift you up a little bit. So I will say that one of the best things that helped me when I was really in just the most dreadful depression places was forcing myself to get up and go walk. And even if there were times when I came back from short walk and climbed right back under the bed, right? So, because there were those days that, there was just, the depression was too much and all I could do was just take a little bit of a walk and then I got back in the bed. So, have a leak on your property in the tree forest. Oh, you have a lake. Okay. A lake on the property. That's awesome. Wow, you have your own lake and tree forest. So, I am very jealous. But, it doesn't have to be today. Because you know what, Janie? You're here, which is just like calling a friend. Because you know that when you come here, at least I hope you do, that when you come here, you are with friends, that this is a safe space, and that, maybe this is the equivalent of calling a friend today. And if we can be that for you, then we are honored. So I am super happy to be part of that. Yay! We got yeses. Awesome. Okay, so phone a friend, come online, good timing. So hopefully, Janie, now here's one more thing I'm going to say because it can be connected to that full moon. I do want to make sure that you're just drinking enough water, okay? When we get down in the dumps, one of the things that we don't like to do is eat healthy and we don't drink enough water. So if you can just try and keep that in mind while you are working yourself through this current situation, and just know that you're going to be okay, all right? But make sure that if you try to make healthy food choices, which sometimes is hard when we feel all dumpy, when we're feeling down in the dumps, try to make sure you're drinking enough water and try to make sure that you are making healthier food choices, because when we make poor food choices, it just makes it worse. It feeds the down in the dumps part. So, but I am all for a pajama day. This is, don't tell. This is one of the best parts about having a hurricane coming in is we can have a pajama day when the storm comes through, because there's nothing to do. Everything is closed, and so we just watch movies. Oh, David, you're a spammer. Bye. See ya. Bye. Wow, interesting. David has a female picture for his profile picture. Anyway, so having a pajama day is always good. So watch the movies, hang out. It's one of the good things about a hurricane. So, all right, let's look at some cards. I will say I always think to myself, I'm tired, like the last couple of weeks, because it's just been so much going on. I'm tired. I'm like, I don't know if I can do a reading, for everybody. But then I get here and I'm with you all, and it just you all boost me. You all boost me up. So we're gonna use some angel cards today, because that's gonna help boost Janie too. So we're gonna have daily guidance from our angels, right? So we're gonna do the collective card reading first, Miss Lynn, Miss Jumpy. We're gonna do the collective cards. We'll do a couple collective cards, then we'll do individual card readings. So hang on to your socks there, everybody. But I think doing some angel cards is gonna help. Hi, Pamela. It's gonna help Miss Janie get out of the dumps today. All right. Hello, music band promotion. Hello. Hello. All right. All right, so collective card readings for the week. What do we need to know? What do we need to know today? Daydream. We need to start with a daydream. Oh, lunar spells. You're a spammer and you're going to get banned. Right now. Goodbye. See you. Bye. Whew. We are popular today. See you. Bye. Okay. So, if you're a spammer, just go now. I'm going to ban you. We don't have any tolerance for spammers here. So just leave, because I will ban you. And not only will I ban you, I will ban you so that it says you and any other future profiles that you might create. So just ban. And I do apologize to those of you that are here that are not spammers, because it seemed like a couple weeks ago they created a profile for me, and then they were sending the messages from me, which you all know it wasn't me. So all right, so the first card, what do we need to know? What do the angels most want us to know today? Is that it's important for us to daydream. So you will more easily hear and receive the messages if you daydream regularly. Relax and open your mind to receiving without directing your thoughts. Just notice your feelings, your visions, and the ideas as if you were watching a movie. So Janie, maybe this is what you're working on while you're in the bed today, is daydreaming. Just allowing yourself to receive the information with no pressure. Because right now your bandwidth, and we talked a bunch about the bandwidth before, so right now your bandwidth, it's narrow. You only have a little bit of bandwidth right now. So you're going to work with what you have. And you're going to, if you're staying in the bed today, that's as much bandwidth as you have. So, and that is okay. That is okay. So while you're in the bed, maybe watch a movie that's your favorite. Something that will make you feel a little better. Something that will make you laugh. Laughter is very healing. But allow yourself to just daydream, right? Which is not the same as dwelling, right? When we dwell on something negative, and then we replay it over and over and over and over and over and over and over in our minds, and we just like continue to beat ourselves up. That is not daydreaming. That is dwelling. That is not the same thing, and it is not a positive. Daydreaming, when we say, angels and spirits, loved ones, master spirits, guides, what do I most need to know today? And then just listen. It's the biggest part. Listening. Waiting. Because the waiting, here's what they say, the waiting is the hardest part. All right. All right, so the second card is let your past go. I think this is a good card for every day, because it's like every day we all need to hear this in some form or another, right? Let the past go. So this says, get my flashlight because I have white writing. Has white writing is so hard to see. All right, the burden of carrying your past around has made you weary. It's time to set this burden down. Keep only the lessons of love and leave everything else behind. You don't want it and you don't need it, and now it is gone. So allow yourself to have that, and we talked about bandwidth, right, a lot today. You don't have the bandwidth for this. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Right. Okay, so what happens when you live in Orlando? All right, last card. Where are we going? Where are we going? What do the angels want to help us to guide us as we go forward? This card is be honest with yourself. Look into your heart, and you will know the truth of the situation. It's safe to admit the truth to yourself, for we will support and guide you through any necessary changes. Lean on us. I love that. Lean on us for courage and the strength to take good care of yourself. Focus only on your true desires, for they will come to you upon angels' wings. So I love this, because we were talking about bandwidth. We're talking about bandwidth, and one of the things about bandwidth is when we're giving out our bandwidth, when we're looking at where am I spending my bandwidth, because bandwidth is a currency. Where am I spending my bandwidth? I'm spending my bandwidth on things that are important to me, that bring me joy, that make me feel useful, or that I've contributed in some way to make the world a better place. This is where I choose to spend my bandwidth. And so the things that don't bring us joy are the things that are weighing us down. And so we look at, where am I spending my bandwidth? Am I being pressured to spend my bandwidth on things that are not lifting me up? Because sometimes we have to do that, okay? Sometimes we've got to deal with stuff, okay? But those are hopefully short, quick obligations, and then we can look at, and honestly, in those situations, don't we often find that we're like not 100% present in the moment because we didn't necessarily want to be there in the first place? So when we're sharing our bandwidth, it's places where we want to be. It's something we want to be part of. So this is fabulous information for our friend Janie, who is feeling a little under the weather today. All right, so hello, Health Fant 9. Hello, Ethel. Take a look and see how you're spending your bandwidth, right? Not how you're spending your time, but how you're spending your bandwidth, right? That is a choice of what are you giving your attention to, what are you participating in, how are you participating? Are you doing it because it fills you up? Are you doing it because you want to? Are you doing it because you're being obligated to? How are you spending the bandwidth? That is the big question for today. That is the big question for this full moon. So, we made Janie smile. All right, now is the time, all of you folks. Now is the time to say if you would like to have a card. Now is the time. And then let's just remember also that because we have spammers that love to come and hang out with you all, because you are all so awesome, that we will shut down the comments after the video is over. Hello, Elias. Hello. I am so looking forward to seeing you in October and just catching up. It has been a month. All right. Oh, I'm so glad, Belinda. I am so glad. I am so glad. All right. So Ellen Jane, speedy on the draw, asks for a card. So Ellen, and Janie's still hanging in there. That's a good thing. Janie. So we come back with, Ellen, we come back with Daydream. So I'm going to pull another one because, you know, we've already talked about it. I want to make sure you get, get a fresh one. So this is, Ellen, this is acceptance. This is acceptance. So this card says, okay, nobody when they're ever making something or manufacturing like a card deck or a book or packaging or anything should be allowed to use white printing. I'm just saying we should just not allow white printing. It's so hard to read. Okay, I am not wanting to have acceptance around white printing, okay? All right, acceptance. See yourself and others through the eyes of the angels. With unconditional love and acceptance, in this way you inspire and lift everyone to their highest potential. So Ellen, are you being hard on yourself, my friend? So we want to have you, encourage you to be, to see yourself as the angels see you, to not be hard on yourself, to not be judgmental of yourself. And so we've talked a lot about this today with bandwidth of where are we spending our bandwidth? Are you spending your bandwidth on something that is filling you up? Are you spending your bandwidth on something that is feeling obligatory to you, right? So this is about acceptance. So where can you take a minute and remember how truly amazing and awesome that you are? So if you're feeling a little hard on yourself, especially we've been talking about this full moon in Pisces, right? That this is a time to really look a little deeper inside of ourselves. Maybe take a few minutes to do that, but only seeing the positives. Because when we take a little bit of extra time for self-reflection, it's oftentimes that we get those moments where we get judgy. So this is a reminder for you to only write down or notice the positives and any of those negatives that come through, to be able to be like, no, we're not doing that right now. No, wait, we're not doing that right now. Okay? Okay. So we have Janie, who's still hanging in there with us, which is awesome. So we are happy for that because we want you to feel better today. So we're going to have a card for Janie. That is perfect timing. Oh, you can't make this stuff up. So whatever it is that you're feeling today, Jeannie, you just need to, Elias is hanging in too. But Jeannie, just feel the feels. Feel the feels. And so if today is not the day to go for a walk, then it's not the day to go for a walk. Today is the day for you to feel the feels. But remember the first thing we talked about when you said you were feeling blue today is this yours? take a look at the calendar and see if there's some yard sites that may be coming up or around for you, and to make sure if there are other people's things you may be picking up on, or how are you spending your bandwidth? Are you being pushed into spending your bandwidth in a way that's not in alignment? Because boy, that can sometimes throw us off the track, right? So this is perfect timing. Now is the perfect moment for you to act on your inspiration. The doors are open while you walk through them with us by your side. There's nothing really wrong. That's awesome. Well, we're always really glad to hear that. Just down. And sometimes that happens. And it can be part of the moon. It can be part of retrograde. It can just be, So, but remember, we also got the card for you before. This is perfect timing. We also got the card before about daydreaming, right? And so with daydreaming, we also want to make sure that we are allowing spirit to talk with us. We're allowing spirit to connect and to hang in there with us also. So that if there is something, sometimes we feel that ungeblazen, it's a Yiddish word that means I'm feeling down. Sometimes we feel that. It's a new Yiddish word for Elias, ungeblazen. And so if you are feeling that way, there might be a reason that they're trying to show you something. So the daydreaming and the perfect timing can be really important for you. I do too. I feel better if I can get out of the house. Having a reason to walk the dogs really does. I don't always want to walk the dog when it's 112 degrees outside, but it does feel better. And especially if you can take a walk with a friend or get on the phone with a friend, that sometimes makes a big difference too, just to have that company, that person to talk with. It gives us other things to focus on. Sometimes when we're feeling that way, we get a little bit lost in that muck. And if we have something else to focus on, it can help bring us out of the muck a little bit more. All right, so where did we leave off? We had, where am I? Hello. All right, Ellen, we did JD, Elias, Pamela would like a card, Misslin would like a card. All right, so Elias, you are next in the comments, but I don't do cards unless you have specifically asked for a card. So I know you're still here, so if you want a card, make sure you just put it in the comments and we'll get back around with you to make sure you have a card. So we're going to move to Pamela. And Pamela, the card for you is change in direction. Change in direction with more white text. More white text. You got it, my friend. More white text for Pamela with a card. This says change in direction. It says my very handy dandy flashlight because I can't read the white text. The changes you're experiencing are divinely directed by your new willingness to open your heart to love and to the guidance of the angels. You are protected now and in the future, so follow that path to a happy outcome. So Pamela, I love that you put a big happy face on your comment. So here is your card. It is change in direction. So where you have been thinking about going, go. They're telling you that this is the right time for you to take that step forward. They're telling you that they're with you and that they're supporting you, and that all of those, because it feels like you felt like it might be too big of a risk to take, and they're saying that it's not. They're saying that this is going to be, when it looks like you're going to step over a puddle and it's like a bigger puddle, and it turns out you get up close and it's not quite so big. So this is this image that they're giving me in my head, Pamela, that it's not as big of a shift as you might be afraid that it is or thinking that it was. And they're saying just go for it because this is perfect timing for you. And the shift in the new direction is going to be a very easy change to make. It's not a sharp turn. It's a gentle curve. Okay? It's a gentle curve. I hope that helps you. All right, Miss Lynn and Belinda. Thanks, Elias. We got to get Elias on here for some of his amazing wisdom to come on here on a Monday afternoon. What do you all think about that? Because if you are not familiar with the incredible Elias Patras, he is a motivator and a coach and a medium and a psychic, and he is hilarious and wonderful. He's an author, and he is just an all-around incredible person to know. So there's that. All right, you are welcome, Pamela. All right, so we have Miss Lynn. All right, Miss Lynn, this is release and surrender. We shower you with blessings of our radiant love. Open your arms and release the challenges that you have held tightly gripped with your hands. Open your hands and your arms and our heart to our love and assistance. So this is a big part of this. I tell the truth, Elias. Miss Lynn, let it go, right? We've talked about this before. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Don't feel like you need to carry along the things that you are, that you have been holding on to. This is the time to let it go. The full moon is the time that we let stuff go that no longer serves us. So, Miss Lynn, this is this wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous purple and gold reminder for you to let go of what is no longer serving you and to not worry about the things that have either not come to pass or that, we what is it saying? We cross the bridge when we get to it, right? But we can spend so much depleting energy worrying about the what ifs. What if it happens? What if it happens? What if it doesn't? I mean, you haven't even gotten to that bridge yet. So, Miss Lynn, this is just a chance to look around as we get into that higher energy. We've heard me talk about this, right, where we have the energy comes down to the new moon and then it rises back up to the full moon, where we have this up periscope moment. We can look around and see what's going on. Then you have the opportunity to check things out and see what changes that you need to make. So for Miss Lynn, this is the opportunity for you to take that periscope moment and look around for a minute and say, I don't need to hold on to that anymore. I just, don't drop it on anybody, but I don't need to hold on to that anymore, okay? So those things that we continue to hold in our pockets, like they think we're going to need them. Like for me, I'm an overpacker when I go on trips. And then once I get everything laid out, I look around and I go, do I really need to keep this with me? So this is that discernment moment that they're talking about. Do you really need to keep carrying it along? And see what things you can do to lighten your load, my friend. All right, so Belinda, and then we'll have Elias. Belinda. And thank you for that, Elias, for putting a little explanation for people. Appreciate that. All right, Belinda. Cupid. Oh, Cupid. So a new partnership. Cupid says, we send great waves of love into your heart and mind, awakening your love for life itself. Your clear decision to accept and enjoy romance has triggered reawakening. Allow yourself to spontaneously celebrate love in all of its glorious aspects. So this is not necessarily, Belinda, about about a romantic relationship, but this may also be about a new partnership. So this is important that we are understanding that, especially with Pisces, this is about relationships, that it can be about romantic relationships. It's also about water, and water signs are about emotions. So this is very much about allowing new opportunities and new partnerships to come into your space, Belinda. So this is going to be exciting. I look forward to hearing more about this as it comes into fruition. But this Cupid is not necessarily about, it's about relationships. It's about having a stronger bond with somebody or something that's in your life. So this could be, it could be a business opportunity. It could be a pet. It could be fixing or mending a relationship or mending a situation where you may have been still holding those baggages like we were talking about before and letting those things go so that you are approaching situations with love. I know it's one of the things that my husband and I talked about with this heart attack that he had is that, if you've been married for a long time, you can get some baggage that you carry along with you. And, one of the things we both talked about after he had come home from the hospital, first time, second time, third time, that it gave us a shift in perspective, that the things that we were still carrying around, little nuggets of that we were still carrying around in our pockets, for us to be able to say, we don't need to keep all this stuff anymore. And it gives you a really perspective shift. And so this may be, Belinda, this partnership or this change in perception where we can open ourselves to love in a better way. So this is, I look forward to hearing more about how that manifests itself in your life. So, my friend Elias, my dear friend Elias, I can't wait to see you in October. Isn't that interesting? Because it's going to be October, and then like last year when I saw you, it was November. Like the beginning of November was almost October. Exciting. A good pattern for us to develop. This is the heart chakra. This is the heart chakra card. This is love is the heart of the matter. Well, if there was a person who led with love, it's my friend Elias. Your heart is the center within your physical being, attuned most to love. It's safe for you to love and be loved with an open heart as we stand with perfect protection and guidance. So I say this because I know that there are some new opportunities that have come your way or that are coming your way, and I feel this spreading of the wings with Elias and moving in new directions. And so as long as you are moving forward in that place of love, and you are coming from, as you always do, this place of love first, then all will be well, which is exactly what you already know. But let's consider this marvelous confirmation for you, my friend. If ever there was a person who lived from the heart chakra, it is Elias. So this is such a wonderful confirmation that all of the new places you are stepping out into that expansion are being so supported by the universe and being so supported by the angels. And this makes my heart so happy for you. I can't wait to see how these things come into how they manifest in the physical. So, all right, who is next? Jamie, thank you. All right, Sharon. Thank you. I do. So here's the reason that I'm really a stickler on making you ask for a card, is because I do not believe that you, yes. Oh, yay. Oh, a new podcast. We'll talk. I do not believe in energetic trespassing or mental trespassing. And so for me personally, if you are here and you want to have a card, it is so important that you physically say the words on, type them in that says, I would like a card, because I want to make sure that you have given me permission to come into your energy. And as long as I have your permission to come into the energy, we are good to go. And then what I also say to people is, if you have a specific question, you don't have to share it with the group, but to hold that in your heart, so when I come to you, you have that available, and we can have the cards reflect that for you. So please ask for a card for Sherry. Place that in the comments. Thank you. Hello. All right, so this card is for Sharon. This is Shower of Abundance, which is wonderful. This is exciting. Shower of Abundance. To heal your financial situation, give us your worries concerning money. We will guide you in order to show how to create and accept abundance. As we work together, your financial situation will heal as fast as you'll allow. So this is about trust, Sharon. This is about trust. This is about trusting them that they've got you and they're trying to point you in the right direction, the Shower of Abundance. And I know the card talks about financials, but it's not just about financials. It's definitely about abundance in all aspects of our life, because when we heal one area of our lives, we heal, there you go. When we heal one area of our life, then we heal all areas of our life, right? It's that saying, like, all rising tide lifts all boats, right? So as we heal one area of our life, we heal all areas of our life. Maybe not 100%, but it definitely helps move us in that right direction. So Sharon, I'm so glad that this answered your question. The cards are amazing that way. Isn't it an incredible thing? All right, so we had Sharon, and then we have Monique, and then I know we had a couple other people come in. All right, so Monique. I always like to shuffle between. Want to make sure everybody has the chance for all the cards. All right. Okay. Monique. Law of attraction, my friend. Monique. There is so much love that is here. And if you are already vibrating at that level, then guess what you are attracting more of? Love, which is awesome, which is where we want to be, right? Law of attraction. Each thought is an investment that pays immediate dividends, so invest wisely. You have the power to choose your thoughts and align them with love and peace and harmony, and we will gladly attune to your energies and higher frequencies. Monique, this is confirmation for you also. I feel like you are also in a place of expansion, that you are coming into a place of new adventures and new New opportunities for you. And I don't feel fear with you. I feel like you have a certainty and a calmness about this, that you know that you are heading in that right direction and that you are wanting to head in that direction. Like you feel, it feels grounded in that direction, Monique. And so just stay in the place of love. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be some little speed bumps along the way. But when we stay in that place of love, those things are smaller. When we get all like, they get bigger. Just energetically, we give them power. So don't give it power. Stay in that place of love, because you are so on the right track with that law of attraction. Okay. Hello, Michael. Oh, from Ireland. Awesome. All right, Michael. And okay. Shuffle. All right. Life purpose. Michael, life purpose. What's going on with your life purpose, my new friend? So, the purpose of your life is to serve in a way that brings you great joy to yourself and to others. Don't worry about finding your purpose. Focus on serving as a purpose, and the purpose will serve you. So this goes right back to what we were talking about earlier about bandwidth, right? Where are you giving your bandwidth? And so just as a little quick recap, bandwidth is different from I'm giving my time, putting something on my calendar, right? People say there's only so many hours in a day. And that's really great. But bandwidth is more about, where is my energy going? What am I giving my energy to? Am I giving my energy to something that is serving me, that lifts me, that feels like I'm contributing to make the world a better place, or that is allowing me to help other people, or something that feeds my soul? That's using your bandwidth wisely, as opposed to having those places where we are using our bandwidth in a way that is obligatory or feels maybe pressured, like guilt, like, family guilt can sometimes be like that. But so Michael, this is really important for you to, don't worry about naming the purpose, just follow the path of the things that fill you up and the things that allow you to be of service to the world, and the purpose will come. You will just realize it. We worry so much about naming something, and it doesn't have to be about labels. We don't need that. We need to just walk the walk. So hopefully, Michael, that helps you. Sharon, I'm so sorry that you lost your husband. My heart is with you, and I'm so glad that you were able to spend some time with us to find some light in a challenging time. And just know that we will all be sending lots of light and healing love your way. All right, we're going to pick one more card for just to close it all up, and then we, depending on what's going on with this hurricane, we will just watch out for posts to see if we're going to be back here for meditation on Thursday night. It will really depend on what's going on with the storm. So we are far enough inland, and the storm is scheduled to go north of us, so we're not in danger for ourselves. We're going to prepare anyway, because hurricanes are fickle creatures and they go literally where the wind takes them. So we want to make sure that we are everyone is staying safe. So stay tuned. Right now we are scheduled for Thursday night meditation at 7 o'clock, but just check back and see a little bit before and see if we are still able to do that based on power and internet and sometimes those things that are out of our control. So our last card for the conclusion, to just bring everything full circle, is the Daydream card again, which we saw a couple of times today. This is that reminder that letting your heart wander, leaving your heart door open, allowing your mind to wander is a beautiful thing, and it's where we can open ourselves more to their guidance and allow them to be more of a presence in our lives. And I will remind you every single day and with every fiber of my being that allowing Spirit to be part of your life and living in a cohabitative state with Spirit can make all the difference in the world. It changes so much about how we live and how we deal with stress and how we deal with each other, and understanding that we are all one already, even for the people who feel like they want to focus on our differences. I do also want to just say, if you're new, because we had a lot of new people today, that we do shut off the comments pretty much right away after we end, because I don't want you all to fall prey to spammers who like to come and ask you all to, send them friend requests and things like that. And so we always want to protect you. So any spammers are always banned, and we will cut off the comments pretty much right away. So I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week. I hope that our time together has brought some love and some light into your world. Jamie, I hope you have a better day tomorrow, and just always remember how very much you are loved. Mwah. Have a good one.